Hey y'all, happy Tumbler Tuesday and happy Valentine's Day. For those of you who are new here, welcome to my channel. I'm Felicia, owner and designer of Valerie's Craft Closet, and this week I'm showing you this super cute, easy 10-ounce lowball tumbler design that I went ahead and created all of my decals and the Valentine's line borders for. As always, I'll make sure that I list and link all of the items we've used in the description box below. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm starting out with this 10-ounce lowball tumbler from New England Glitter, going in with my fabric measuring tape here, and I'm marking off 1¼ inches 3 times, so this way it will give me my red, pink, and then my blush color on my tumbler. Once I go ahead and mark those lines, I'm going to go in with this painter's tape. I don't remember how wide these are, but it fits perfectly for whatever my striping is. So I just go ahead and use that tape and just start at the top rim and work my way down, just so I can make sure that my stripes are perfectly straight and even. Once I'm done applying my tape, I'm going in with my tacket and just a regular little brush here. And I'm going to go ahead and apply my tacket really good over this bottom portion of my tumbler, and I'm just going to go ahead and use my brush here and just really make sure I coat that really well. I go in and I add a second layer of tacket just to make sure that it's got a really good, decent first layer. I think that first layer I kind of put on was really thin. So I just went ahead and added a little bit more just to make sure that I got a good, nice coverage. Once I got that done, I'm going in with my heat gun and I'm just going ahead and making sure that I dry that tacket really well before applying our first glitter color to the bottom. Once that's dry, I'm going in with New England Glitter's Big Red. This is a very pretty red color. So I'm going ahead and I'm just placing that all over the bottom and that first section. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a big tacket fan. I love Mod Podge. I know some of y'all say that Mod Podge is the devil's glue. However, I just feel like for this technique, I don't like doing it. So I just went back to my Mod Podge. As you will see here, I was just like not having it. I feel like Mod Podge for doing this technique gives me better coverage than the tacket. Like I said, I usually only use my tacket when I'm actually going to do the tacket method, because if not, I don't think it's a very good strong enough glue that doesn't just do good coats. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of tacket. I love Mod Podge. I have no problem with Mod Podge. So I just went in with my Mod Podge and another brush and just added another layer of glue over that already applied glitter. Then I go ahead and just reapply another layer of that red on top. Once I am done applying that red, I go in with my Mod Podge and I remove that very first tape from the top rim. I know I called the bottom the top, but you know what I mean. So I'm going to apply my Mod Podge. Then I'm going in with a blush from New England Glitter. This is a very salmony, very light pink color, and especially with this tan base, it made it look a little more salmony than it actually looks in the bottle, which I didn't really mind it. But like I said, I haven't really found the true base for this type of glitter yet. Like I said, I don't really use this color often, but I decided to this time and it worked out perfect for exactly what I was looking for. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm just taking a coffee filter here and I'm just wiping off some of that glitter on my brush just because I kind of got some red in there. And it's kind of getting gloopy and globby. So I'm just cleaning my brush in between before I go in with my next layer of Mod Podge to recoat that blush pink. You want to make sure that when you are using Mod Podge or any type of glue over raw glitter that you just put down, that you're not putting the glue down and dragging it. You want to kind of make sure you're using like a dabbing motion and kind of just like dabbing that glue on. And then once you have it fully covered, then you can kind of lightly kind of go over it and brush through. But you just want to make sure that you're not dragging that bottom layer, as yes, it's dry, but you're still going to pull up that glitter. I find that's what works best for me. However, do whatever works best for you. So once I go ahead and I coat this with the blush pink color, we're going to go ahead and quickly remove that tape in the center of our tumbler here, just because we don't want that glitter to really dry fully, because then you risk the chance of pulling up those colors when you do. So just make sure you carefully pull up that tape right after you're done. Going in again with my Mod Podge, I'm just going to carefully go in between these two colors, making sure that I do not get any Mod Podge on any of those glitter colors, because this will stick to it. So just kind of take your time. If you need to go in with a thinner brush, go in with a thinner brush. But I got a pretty good steady hand. I am going in with bubblegum from New England Glitter as well. I'm going to go ahead and coat this, then I'm going to let it dry for a minute or two before applying my second layer of Mod Podge. Once I have this second layer of this bubblegum glitter on my tumbler, I go ahead and I let that dry for an hour or two. Then I go ahead and I spray seal it 2 times with my Rust-Oleum clear gloss spray paint, just to seal in those colors, so this way they do not shift when I go ahead and epoxy. I am mixing 20 milliliters of my favorite epoxy, Speedy Petey's Fast Set Epoxy. This is a 2-part epoxy, part A and a part B. I just wanted to show you what the container looks like because I never show it, but that is what it looks like, and this is my absolute favorite epoxy. This epoxy cures in 2 hours to the touch. I can actually take these off of the tumbler and I can start manhandling them and moving on to my next steps within 2 hours. I can add a second foot coat within 30 to 45 minutes. This epoxy is a very good viscosity. It's a medium viscosity. It doesn't have any odor to it. It is a very high shine and almost, if not, is bubble free. I don't have any issues with bubbles at all, and there's about a 15-minute working time, so as long as you are fast, this stuff works amazing, and I suggest that you all give it a try. And not only that, it has knocked down my tumbler time in, I couldn't even tell you, like, it is just, I can do a full tumbler from start to finish in one day if by using that epoxy, and what a game changer it is. So once that is cured for 2 hours, I go ahead and I start prepping my tumbler for my decals, going in with my X-Acto knife, and I'm removing any of that excess epoxy that's up and over that rim. Make sure you are very careful that you do not cut yourself, and make sure that you have a sharp blade. If you do not have a sharp blade, you risk the chances of either 1, cutting yourself, or 2, gouging the crap out of your epoxy that's on your sides. I had that issue earlier with a tumbler that had it just came off the turner with its final coat of epoxy on, and I was cleaning it up before getting ready to ship it. And my knife blade was dull, and I was just trying to rip through, getting off. There was a pretty decent glob that was left on there, and I always take off my epoxy after every epoxy layer, just because the more you let it cure on there, the thicker it builds, and it ended up pulling off a good chunk off of the top rim, so I had to go back in and patch it, which was not a big deal. However, it is a bummer when that happens when it's supposed to be going out. So I'm taking my sanding block and I'm just sanding around that rim, smoothing down any of that glitter, and then I'm going ahead, and you want to make sure that you remove a nice sliver of stainless steel around that top rim, so you can get a good adherence of that epoxy to the side walls of your tumbler instead of that top rim where it's more vulnerable. I'm just taking my sanding block and just giving my tumbler a very good sanding, just because I'm using a lot of vinyl decals, and I really want to make sure that these stick to the tumbler, and of course having a matte surface and roughing it up will give it a better adhesion. So I'm going in, just going in, smoothing out any of my imperfections. There really wasn't that many, but like, I'm OCD when it comes to this, so I like to make sure that it is like baby butt smooth. But if you find yourself doing a lot of sanding, go ahead and throw a second layer of epoxy on, but like I said, I really didn't need one. Going in with a coffee filter and some rubbing alcohol, and I'm really going to wipe down this tumbler just because I just sanded the crap out of it and my hands were all over it. So I just want to make sure that it's really nice and clean before putting these decals on, so this way I don't cause any issues possibly with lifting of my vinyl, and I just want it to be clean. Okay, now that my tumbler is all sanded and cleaned, we are going to go ahead and start applying our decals. I went ahead and created these into Design Space. However, I was a little sad because Design Space decided to crash right when I was sizing them, and I couldn't remember exactly how I designed them. So I had to recreate these little cute little line borders again, and they weren't as great as they were the first time. So this tumbler didn't really come out exactly how I had imagined it would, but you know what? Sometimes just trust the process. It was good. Yes, we had to make some changes last minute. I made some errors, which I'll show you in a minute. But I'm going ahead and I'm just layering my vinyl onto, I used that champagne textured vinyl, and I'm just getting that ready to apply it to my offset here. I'm actually in the market for some new transfer tape. This transfer tape, I normally buy my transfer tape from the Dollar Tree. I have never had any issues with it. I've used it for years. I don't know if they've recently changed like the adhesive they use, because like it is super sticky, but it's a gooey sticky where it won't pick up my vinyl. And like I was struggling hardcore on this one because I just finished a roll like a month or so ago and it was great. But I also I stock up on these when I buy them. So I don't know if maybe it just got too hot in my office and workspace and it kind of just melted that adhesive, and then it just never dried. I don't know. But it happened to both of them, and it was the same exact rolls that I bought with the one that I had just finished. So I think the heat kind of messed with them. So I don't know, but let me know in the comments what transfer tape you guys like, and I'm willing to try it out. But as you can see here, my transfer tape was giving me a heck of a time. You're going to see it throughout the entire video when I go to weed these out. Like, it was super frustrating. It took me like an hour to weed these suckers out, and it literally shouldn't have. And then come to find out, you're going to realize that you're going to see halfway through this that the cup has changed. I made an oopsie. That red border that's on that very light blush pink on top was actually supposed to be on the middle section, and then the middle section was supposed to be on the top section, and I was like, oh, it will be fine, just keep going with it. And then by the time I finished putting on the decals, I was like, nope, I don't like it. I didn't like that middle section really clashed with that vinyl, so I pulled everything off, and then I recut the red and that light pink vinyl border, and we went ahead and replaced it. So you're going to see me here messing around with the letters, getting them into place, moving them around a little bit, because like I said, the transfer tape was giving me a heck of a time, and some of the letters had stuck to my fingers. So this tumbler definitely gave me a run for my money. So I'm just going to go ahead and let this play, and you will see in a few minutes here that we're going to bring the tumbler back, and it's going to be completely naked, and we're going to reapply those two top decals correctly before we finish on to finalizing the tumbler. I also went ahead and cut out these pinstriping out of the textured champagne vinyl. I cut these at 11.5 by 0.10 with my Cricut, and I just cut out 2 of those, and I'm just adding those in there for some extra detail. Once those are on there, I am now trying to convince myself that I like it, but I don't. So here we are with take 2 with applying it to the correct sections. I couldn't even think of the word I was looking for. So you'll see me here just kind of rewrapping, remeasuring to make sure that this is all going to line up perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and let that play out for you while we go ahead and fix my whoopsie mistake. Like I said, guys, it happens. I knew I had put it on wrong the second I did it, and I was just like, I'll just keep moving with it, but it clashed way too much with that pink. They were too alike. So when in doubt, just fix it. It took me an extra 10 minutes, like no biggie. It actually took me a lot faster to put them on the second time than it did the first time. So you know what? You live, you learn. We make mistakes. Crafting isn't always that easy. Nothing always goes right. If it does for you, then you know what, girls, send me those vibes, because crafting is not easy and it does not ever go my way. But I just wanted to show you guys that yes, I do make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Fix them, keep going, trust the process, and just keep moving forward. Once I got those on, I go ahead and I coat this with some polyacrylic just because we have a lot of vinyl work on here and I am using textured vinyl, and I sometimes have issues with textured vinyl lifting up, and especially when it's on an offset. So I just go ahead and use some polyacrylic and spread this around. You can use some quick coat if you have that on hand, but if you don't, like I don't, I just use polyacrylic and it works just the same. Go ahead and let that dry for about 30 minutes. Then I'm going in with 20 milliliters of Speedy Petey's Fast Set Epoxy. Went ahead and mixed in some Motor City Glitters Fairy Dust in there just to give it some added sparkle. Go ahead and I coat this really well. I go ahead and let this cure for about 30 minutes before applying my second and final layer of my Speedy Petey's Fast Set Epoxy. Once I go ahead and I let this spin for a few minutes, making sure that I have it nice and smooth, I hit it with my blowtorch a few times, just popping any and all bubbles I may or may not see. Let that cure for 2 hours, and it was done. As always, I absolutely love the way that this tumbler came out. I think it is absolutely adorable. These are perfect for ready to ship items, or even just as a last minute gift for a child, for a teacher, for a best friend, for yourself, for anyone really. This video is just to inspire you to create something beautiful. If you like this tutorial, please make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our videos that upload every Tuesday. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon.